The North Wessex Downs, famous for its endless byways, prehistoric sites and its beautiful rolling chalk landscape with them sweeping views, of course. And if I don't say so myself, one of, if not the best places in the south of England for a bikepacking adventure. And that's why today I'm going on a little bikepacking adventure all around this epic landscape. My journey will start in the birthplace and home of Jane Austen, at Basingstoke. With around 160 miles or 257 kilometres to overcome, I start with a cruise out of town, warming the legs up for the first bikepacking adventure of the year. And dare I say it, I already had lead legs before starting this one. So this one might well get interesting. Because not only are my legs not at all ready for this, but with the amount of rain we've had, them trails were getting a bit slidey. Time to get out on the trails in the North Wessex, area of outstanding natural beauty. Probably one of my favourite little places to ride, and lots of routes do come through here, but I've never done one just dedicated to this area, so I thought for the first one of the year to probably test out the waterproofness of this new coat and this new rack. I'll probably stop. And this new rack on this bike, I'm going to take on a nice little 160 miles, probably a couple nights, probably some rain, and definitely some wet trails. The really great thing around this area, when you compare it to something like the Wolfway in like Norfolk and Suffolk, is like, there's lots of trails over there, but a lot of them are footpaths. Around this area, there's tons and tons of byways, bridleways, so there's a lot more choice to go. And this time of year, when the trails are muddy and wet, that helps a lot, because a lot of the trails I'll be riding should be mostly pretty good to holding up to the rain. But as I'm saying that, let me just get through this nice muddy section. And let's go and have a few days in North Wessex. Shall we? Let's do it. Try not to fall on my ass. Today the trails were still soaked from the recent rainfall, the water sitting right on the surface. Conditions were far from ideal in places, and the gravel bike tyres were about to earn their keep, if they were going to stop me from ending flat on my arse. The North Wessex Downs trails would test my balance on this one, and it wouldn't be too long until the new coat got its first test as well. But that was no surprise to me. Luckily it was just a short shower back there, and the trails are actually holding up quite nicely. It's the one good thing, and it's one thing I always try, and if I'm making a route myself, I always try to find the byways. Byways, not always, there's definitely some that are terrible and they get really rutty and stuff, because byways can be used by motorbikes, motor vehicles and stuff. But a lot of them are just like this. So they can be a bit slidey in places, but generally speaking, quite nice, hold up pretty good, tend to not be overgrown. Again, not all. And pretty good all year round. But the one thing the North Wessex area has is hills, and this route is fairly up and down, so while it's not particularly long at 160 miles, it's definitely going to have its up and down challenges. Luckily it's never really go that high, but it is very up, down, up, down, up, down. But as long as the trails are like this, I think we're going to be good. Now, I didn't start till probably like midday. Sunset is going in the right direction now. It's not until just about 5 p.m, so we're slowly getting there. So won't do too many miles today. I do have a rough idea of where I want to camp. Some nice little woodlands at around the 35-mile mark, so hopefully I can get there, and hopefully it won't be raining when we get there, so it can be dry. Tomorrow's looking okay though. Tomorrow's looking a bit drier. So unfit.
While true, my fitness has taken a downturn over the New Year period, looking into the North Wessex Downs and the rolling countryside, steep climbs, muddy trails were just obstacles that would start to bring that fitness right back to the legs. It's never easy to get out this time of year, when everything is just different colours of grey and wet. But I have to remind myself I have never come home and regretted going out.
So as you can tell, pretty muddy right now. Obviously a tractor has been through here pretty recently and cutting all the sides, so I can't really walk on the grassy bit, which would be the ideal situation because there's a lot of thorns and stuff. But look at that. I feel like that's the first bit of sun I've seen all year. Let's see if we can ride it. It's very slow going, wheel spinning, because the mud is freshly wet but starting to dry out. It definitely makes it very hard to actually get any momentum forwards. Oh, hello devil, there he is. There's Mr. Farmer, cutting all the bushes. Thank you. Bench back there I wanted to stop at so I could have something to eat, but unfortunately it started raining again, so keep moving and hopefully get out of this rain cloud. I'm kind of where I am and where the rain clouds are, they're kind of just on the edge of where I am, so every now and again I turn into it and turn away from it. So hopefully I'll get away from it again soon. Over to my left, rain clouds. Over to my right, kind of sun. Done about 28 miles, so I think in about 5 or 6 I probably be about the woods where I'm hoping to camp. I think I should be able to. If not, in a further 10 miles, I think there is another woodlands that could be possible. But the one first is a lot quieter, because the other one's quite close to Marlborough. God, I feel so unfit. Well, it's still raining. I've still got about an hour until the sun sets. I've actually got here a bit faster than I anticipated, but I think I'm going to head into this woodlands and set up camp. Should be able to find somewhere in there. Hopefully not too wet. Probably will be though. All right, let's go find somewhere to camp. Let's get this tent set up and get in and get dry. All right, I think I found the spot. Should be good here. The trail's over that way. There's quite a lot of good camping spots, to be honest. Might have a little wander, but it is still raining. It's always typical that it starts raining just as you get close to camp. It's always what you don't want. If it started when I was in the tent, who cares, right? All right. Get this tent set up and it's gonna be a long old night. Well, I'm in and I am dry. Luckily it's not cold, it's just very wet. There's a nice little 35 miles or so, and only another 130 or so to go. I'm planning to take maybe 2.5 days to do this trip. A couple nights out, first of the year. Get it underway, get the legs moving again. A long night in this tent. It doesn't get light until I think 7:30, 8 o'clock. It's only just 5 o'clock now, and I haven't brought my bloody Game Boy again. Keep forgetting it. But I do have some little bakery, got some cheese twists, so that'll make a mess in here probably, and some cookies. But as you can hear, it's still raining. It is meant to stop in a little bit, so hopefully by the time I wake up I'll have a nice dry tent. Tomorrow's looking much better, which is Monday. Tuesday, not so much, but oh well. But as always, I see bright and early in the morning for our first real proper day in the wet North Wessex Downs. See you in the morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Oh, it's quite fresh out here this morning. Get this tent packed up because I'm still a bit damp. Put the damp clothes back on so I can get nice and dry when I get going. Got some nice miles ahead of us today. So, yeah. I should have some nice views. Should get away from some of the single track today and get some nice views. It's not looking like it's going to rain as well today, although it does look a bit foggy and misty, so them views that I was hoping for today might not be that great. tell you what though, it was such a peaceful night last night. So incredibly quiet. Barely, honestly, like I don't think there was like even any animals around. It was just super quiet. Really nice. Maybe it's just been a little while since I've been in the tent, but that one just felt really quite special. But it is bloody cold this morning. It was quite toasty and warm in the tent, but getting out this morning, definitely a little bit slow. It actually stopped raining probably about 20 minutes after I got in the tent as well, so didn't have to have the rain crashing on the tent for too long either. So what a win. Good little spot. Now I do have to grab some food today, but that isn't into a little place which I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced, and if I pronounce it wrong it might it's very close to another word. So it's a place called Pusey. So but I think that's in around 25-30 miles, so I'll probably stop there, grab some breakfast. But yeah, what a beautiful night. It is looking like tonight though, or from tonight onwards and then tomorrow, back to the rain. So make sure I find somewhere good to camp tonight as well. The good thing about the North Wessex Downs though is there is quite a lot of good camp spots, good little woodlands like this. Oh, it's cold.
Getting out of camp this morning was slow going. Lots of pondering, lots of staring into the trees, thinking about what the day might have in store, without much moving at all. Everything was cold and damp, and I didn't really want to move. But after forcing myself onto the bike, pedalling just to stay warm, the morning slowly began. I left the woodland that had been my home for the night, and rolled out into the foggy hills of the North Wessex Downs. The miles can feel slow going around here, so reaching the Kennet and Avon Canal for a few easier miles was a welcome change. Even if it was a little muddy in places, the peaceful, tranquil feeling of a morning canal ride. The canal feels like its own little world.
That's very fitting. Oh, it's attached. I wanted to try it on.
You never quite know what you're going to find along the trails here in the UK, but a gate with a hat wasn't something I was expecting. What I did expect at some point on this trip though, was exactly what happened next. This single track trail was about to get extremely muddy. Claggy mud clogging the bike from being able to ride it, let alone push it. Probably could have predicted it if I had come in the other direction and seen the sign of what this trail was called. Mud Lane. After cleaning the bike, I started climbing uphill in hopes of catching the views. Sadly, they were still obscured by thick fog. On a clear day though, the views up here are absolutely amazing. But for now, it was downhill for breakfast.
Well, just stopped, had a bite to eat. Cornish pasty, nice and hot as well. Not quite the same as when you're in Cornwall though. It's currently midday and I have only actually done 20 miles so far. So, I mean, still got 5 hours, but better get my ass into gear really to make some miles. It's been very muddy this morning, but it is like not quite as grey now with the sky. There's a couple little bits of blue, a little bit of sun, but that does mean all the trails are in that transition phase from going soaking slippery wet to sticky and wet. But I think within like next sort of 10-15 miles, as I turn around to head back in the other direction, a lot of the trails are there. Shouldn't be quite as muddy, not quite a single track and stuff like that. But, right, let's keep going. Hopefully see some views now that it's starting to clear up a bit, and get these legs and my arse into gear. Let's go. Woo.
Now that it had taken so long to get to this point on the route, today it was really time to get my arse into gear and get some miles covered. But round here you can only really ever go as fast as the trails dictate, and climbing up onto Pusey Downs wasn't exactly fast going today, slodging through the mud. But I could see the top, so I just kept pedalling whenever I could, and was being helped by a bit of tailwind up here today, which was very handy. But as I got closer to the top, a very distinct sound could be heard from over my shoulder. A sound that you'd think would have made me pedal a bit faster. I'd been spotted, but a friendly wave and he was on his way.
I am making incredibly slow progress. It's been very slow going. I've done 31 miles. It's already 2:30. We've got like 2 and a bit hours until it gets dark. So this ride might end up taking an extra day. Who knows? But I'm at the turnaround point now, so that's good. But at the same time it's bad because last few miles I've had a nice tailwind, but now I'm going to have a horrible headwind. So I've got 96 miles to go. I think once I get up this climb I have a few easy-ish miles. Oh, when I say easy, kind of flattish downhill for maybe 10 miles. But I've got to try and beat the rain and get to camp. The rain says it's starting at around 6, half 6. So I was thinking of riding into the night, get some extra miles, but I don't think I'll be able to do too many extra miles at night because I don't want to get into camp again wet. I can get dry, good spot, because it's going to rain pretty much from about 6, 7 p.m. until, by the looks of it, at least midday tomorrow, 11. So it's going to be a long old wet night. So hopefully I can hunker down somewhere good where I can get a good night's sleep. But oh man, I'm knackered. It's been a tough old slog. Lots of very wet, muddy trails. And I've got to climb back up now. Whew. Back up we go.
With the day really getting away from me, I needed to make it up and over the next climb. A long, steady push up to the Lansdowne Monument. You can see it from miles away, but getting there meant a slow grind around Morgan's Hill Nature Reserve. When you finally reach the top though, the views across Wiltshire can be incredible. Today though, the fog still hung in the distance, so I wasn't so lucky. The Lansdowne Monument was restored by the National Trust in the 90s, and in 2010 a fencing was added to protect visitors from fallen masonry. It's still standing there 16 years later, watching over the downs. From there, my next stop was the small village of Avebury, to the Avebury Stone Circles. These massive Neolithic structures are over 4,500 years old, far older than the pyramids of Egypt, and are thought to have been used for ceremonies, gatherings, and possibly astronomical observations.
It's currently just past 4 p.m, so I've only got about 50 minutes until sunset. Now I'm going to make a slight change to the route I had originally planned. I was going to avoid coming from Avebury up onto the Ridgeway, but because I've only got 40 odd minutes until it actually gets dark, I'm going to have to cut a little short. I'm not sure it's going to save me much time, to be honest, because the first part of the Ridgeway is always a bit rutty and slidey and a bit horrible to ride, but hopefully, at least if I'm up there, maybe I can find somewhere to camp or something like that. Yeah, I've only done 40 miles. Got a couple of hours until it starts raining, so I might do a little bit of night riding, but we'll see. Right, I've just stopped. I'm on the Ridgeway. I'm going to camp in this little bit of woodlands. I've camped here a bunch of times in the past, so, and that's pretty decent. Get a bit of shelter and get set up in the camp before it starts raining. I only managed to do 45 miles. I'm not 100% sure how far I've got to go. Not quite back on the route, so we'll see. See early on in the morning, but I'm not sure I will make it back to Basingstoke tomorrow, so it might just be a one very grueling day tomorrow to try and get as close to Basingstoke for the next day. So I'm going to camp right here, good little woods, wind's coming from that way, so it should be nice and sheltered. Got a fairly nice view, although it's mostly just clouds. Oh god, that was a tough day. I picked quite a grueling ride for the first ride back of the year, but right, let's get this tent set up and get toasty warm and everything. I feel pretty tired now. I only did 45 miles. It's terrible.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. I think that might have been possibly the worst night's sleep I've had in a tent for a while. I think even when I was in the Peak District, I slept more than I did last night. That wind is crazy out there. It was howling, it was battering the tent, it was raining. It has kind of stopped raining. It's still very windy. It's still meant to rain for the next few hours at least. But yeah, I'm sort of, it's currently like 8 a.m. Sun's technically rise now, but I'm just sort of hunkering down, just slowly but not very surely, getting out of the tent, getting changed, getting dressed and everything. And I have a quick sausage roll for breakfast and on we go. Now I've got a few miles. I've probably got 20 miles until I get to a place called Lambourn, where I'm going to try and stop to get some food and stuff, because after there the next stop won't be until Hungerford, and that'll be the last stop before Basingstoke. But I've still got 80 odd miles, and it's looking like it's going to be a very windy and possibly quite a brutal day. And on top of it, I've literally slept maybe like an hour at most, so I'm pretty sleepy. It's definitely cleaner than it was yesterday. That's good. You managed to get out of camp fairly dry. I'm sure once I leave the shelter of this little woodlands that it'll probably be a little bit less sheltered and windy and rainy, but this right here is British winter. Grey, and some more grey, with a bit of grey rain and grey wind somehow all thrown in. But that woods behind me has served me a shelter on many occasions, and it did another good job last night, even though it was crazy windy. Even got the gloves on today, so the wind is cold.
Making my way along the exposed ridgeway this morning, that wintry rain and wind was battering me as I pushed onwards and upwards towards Barbary Castle, an Iron Age hill fort. From the ground it's hard to fully make out what it would have looked like, but from above the scale becomes clear. The fort dates back to around the 5th or 4th century BC and was likely used for both defence and as settlement. Its raised banks and surrounding ditches would have made it a strong and well-defended site, giving its occupants a clear view across the surrounding Wiltshire countryside. But up here was brutal today, so I was happy to be going downhill. Raining, it's pouring, Josh would like to be snoring. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a bit wet out here today. Give the new coat a good christening, why not? It's absolutely pelting it down. Thing is, the rain is actually going in the direction that I'm travelling, so every now and again it stops and I think, oh yeah, it's passed, and then I catch it up again. At least it's kind of rideable a bit more today, although some of it is like an ice rink. Hoping it will stop at some point for the remainder of the day so I can get dry again. You can see it's properly coming down.
And because the trails are so wet and I can't get any grip, I'm too lazy and too tired, I'm hiking up this little hill. And I'm starving. I want to get some food. Well, I think we are through the worst of it now. It says, well, it's looking like it shouldn't rain now. Well, it might spit a little bit, but most of it's gone until tonight. Just had some food, nice hot food as well actually today, and just come through Lambourn. Fond little memories of that little village there, because I think it was the shortest night of the year. Like just a bunch of random people got together and we used to ride through the night from Oxford to Christchurch. And I think I've got some horses behind me. They're a bit far back. I don't know if they're going to overtake me. Oh my God. It's quite cold when you stop, so keep pedaling up these hills. I'm gonna get to the point where I start turning back that way again in so many miles. I'm not sure how many. I'm just trying not to get overtaken by a couple of horses, which I think I might. Can I borrow one? You get a tow.
I had lost the race to the horses. Lambourn is home to over 30 prominent racing stables and is known as the Valley of the Racehorse. So I'll humbly accept the defeat on this one. At least it looked like the day would mostly stay dry. Or so I thought. As I made my way through the wet trails, it turned into a cat and mouse game with those pesky rain clouds. Just as I thought I'd escaped them and dried off, I'd be caught once more.
Every now and again, I just get caught in like a flash shower. And because it's so windy and raining, it's like getting hit in the face with ice cubes. It's bitterly cold. I'm nearly at the point where I'm going to start sort of turning back around now. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that as I do that, I'm not just heading straight back into all them rain clouds that are over there. But by the looks of it, I probably am. I've done like, what have I done? I've done 32 miles. I've done 32 miles. And probably going to only try and do maybe 10 more. Because then that leaves me with around 35 to do. Maybe I can get it down to 30, but we'll see. It's quite early, it's not late yet, it's only, oh well, it is 2:30 already. Time flies when you're getting wet.
think I have timed that absolutely perfectly. It's currently 4:30, so 20 minutes until it gets dark. There's a nice woodlands around here, which is where I'm hoping to camp. I'm either going to walk that way or that way, not sure yet. It's going to start raining again in about 20 minutes as well, so hopefully I'll have everything set up and I'll be nice and comfortable in the tent. I've done 40 miles a day again. It felt a lot faster today. I guess I didn't leave until a bit later today, so I think I actually did better than yesterday. I think today was just generally a bit more in my favour. The terrain was a bit more downhill. The trail was a bit more like this instead of claggy muddy single track and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to find somewhere to camp. The only downside with this camp spot is it's not going to be noisy from the wind, but it is going to be noisy from that road, which is the M4, I believe. So yeah, got the drone of cars. Only 37 miles. It's probably like 5 miles until Hungerford, which is pretty much all downhill. So that'll be an easy little morning cruise to get breakfast. And then the only real challenge left is getting up the last climb, which is, I think, to the highest point. I don't know if it's going to be a clear day, but if it is a clear day, up there it is beautiful, like views forever. And then once you get to the top, it's mostly downhill. Right, I'm going to stop rambling on and let's go and find somewhere good to camp, right or left. I feel like that way could be better. Well, good morning. Last night, look at like this little camp spot. Like it's so good. So many little spots to set up. Spoiled for choice. And it was just such a good spot. Actually, it's probably the best spot I've had. Definitely better than yesterday's noisy one. A little bit noisy with the cars, but it weren't too bad. But this morning, I kind of got into my head that, oh gosh, kind of got into my head that it was probably just going to be wet and stuff, because like the weather forecast recently is just like rain every single day. But today is actually looking like it's going to be a really nice day. It's going to be a bit cloudy, but it is going to be kind of clear and sunny. And if I just go over here, there's this big bright orange thing in the sky. Look how nice that looks. It's not really doing much for the heat right now, but it's nice to see it. And it's the perfect day for it to be like a nice blue sky, fairly clear day, because today we're heading up to, I think, the highest point on this trip after Hungerford, and then it's pretty much downhill, and then it's like downhill all the way back, basically to Basingstoke. But as I climb to the top of this high point, the views up there are really good. It's nice and open, exposed, with some good views and some good riding. But it is pretty nippy this morning. So I probably got 5-6 miles or something until Hungerford. Nice little cruise along the
Avon and Kennet, Canal, Kennet and Avon and Kennet, I don't know. Up to Hungerford, I'm going to grab a few supplies, a bit of breakfast, so I get a bit of energy for the hills ahead of us. But let's get on this bike, let's get warmed up. Last day.
Sun, sun, sun. Do, 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 do.
That shift from grey, windy, rainy days to beautiful, crisp, cold mornings with the sun shining never gets old. This morning I started high enough to be able to enjoy the views of the North Wessex Downs. Down below looked foggy though, and I was heading downhill. So when I made it back down to the Kennet and Avon Canal for a second time on this adventure, once more into the canal's own little world, this time a foggy world. As I followed the canal towards Hungerford, I had to take a short detour because the path was far too muddy after all the rain, and I was hoping to stay dry today. Arriving in Hungerford, also wrapped in thick fog, I grabbed some breakfast. I sat for a while among the fog on the common. I couldn't stay still for too long though. It was still around 3 degrees, and although the sun was shining, it wasn't warming me up in the slightest. But I knew a steep hill that could get the heart pumping, and that was just around the corner.
That's the Hungerford little breakfast stop. It's absolutely beautiful out here, beautifully cold. Why can't winter always be like this, sunny and cold? I'm going to be heading up to, I think it's called Sandpits Down now. So we've got like a really nice big climb. I'm really hoping that we get some views at the top. It is really foggy here at Hungerford, but hopefully as I climb I should get out of the fog. Hopefully, otherwise it's going to be a very foggy view. But it is really cold out here today, and I'm very much looking forward to actually going up this climb for once, because it's a chance to get warm. But it's a good breakfast. Now it's time to get up the last big climb of this trip. That sun is beautiful.
Caught up in the lanes. Come on mate, you get a bus through there.
Going up there in a minute. Save the best. Climb to last. It's only a road climb, so there's no unpredictable terrain I'm going to have to contend with, but it's a bit of a kicker, that's for sure, especially on a loaded bike. But the views from the top are really good, and I have left the fog behind, so that's good.
Climbing this hill finally shook off any lingering cold from the morning, and for the first time on this trip, I was able to truly enjoy the views across the North Wessex Downs. No fog, no rain, just rolling hills and miles of open countryside stretching out as far as the eye could see. Getting to the top of this climb meant that, for the most part, all the hardest trails and toughest challenges were now finally behind me, leaving nothing to worry about except enjoying the open trails, taking in the views, feeling the sun on my face, and simply having fun on the bike without any bad weather or wind to slow me down.
great way to end this trip, it really is. It's been a bit of a testing trip with lots of wind, lots of cold weather, lots of rain, but I've only got about 13 miles to go. It's currently about 1 p.m, so I'm just trying to get it down, just trying to get to Basingstoke before it actually gets dark. I should be able to do that. Pretty much once I get up this little climb, it's just nice and down ups, all the way to Basingstoke, hopefully. Because look at the views, it's when it's like, the weather's like this, it's just so good. It's like no wind today either, so there's nothing to test you really, apart from, the hills are quite testing, to be fair. Let's go. Basingstoke, here we go.
With only a few trails left of this epic little adventure around the North Wessex Downs, with its endless byways, prehistoric sites and rolling chalk hills, and one of the best bikepacking areas to explore in the south of England, and certainly a great way to blow the cobwebs off my legs. And with only a few miles and nearly all downhill, I'd arrive back in Basingstoke, with the sun still shining and beating the dark. It just doesn't get much better than that. For a first ride of the year, brilliant.